On the Track is a monthly web TV show about cryptozoology, natural history, green issues and whatever else the team feel like making up as they go along. Enjoy!
39 years ago this summer I was driving between Dawlish and South Devon and the county town of Exeter, and I was driving through the little village of Star Cross when I saw an alternative looking bloke, an alternative type sort of guy, hitchhiking along the road. He had a guitar over his shoulder, he was looking hot and tired, and so, especially as I was trying to be the Brian Epstein of South Devon at the time and set up a roster of interesting alternative artists with whom I could take the hit parade by storm, I stopped the car and picked him up. His name was Mike Davies, and I thought then and think now that he was probably the most incredibly talented songwriter I have ever met. 39 years later we're still friends, and a few days ago he came into my home studio to try recording a song that he's written about the recent lockdowns.
If you pay the government, don't make me do what you believe. But I believe we have a destiny. So you lock me down.
Well, as any musician will tell you, there's always one member of the band who gets carried away, and on this occasion it was one of the backing singers.
La, la, la. We can take a drive on your way to work. Take a ride if you pay the government. Don't make me do what you believe. But I believe we have a destiny. Oh, you lock me down, you can't shut me up, can't shut me up. Lock me down, you can't shut me up, can't shut me up.
Karina always used to say that when Archie was howling to music, that it was because we were making his ears hurt. But I truly think that it's because he enjoys singing along. I know that I'm appallingly anthropomorphic when it comes to my dogs and cats. I don't treat them as animals, I treat them as little fellows in fur coats. But on this occasion I truly think that Archie enjoys music and enjoys being part of what's happening. And ladies and gentlemen, I know that I'm often accused of wandering massively off topic, but I think on this occasion I can be excused, because if there is such a thing as a New Guinea singing dog, and there is, a species of dog from New Guinea which sings, I think that a North Devon singing dog, which is exactly what Archie is very Fortean indeed. On with the show.
I really like the old credits.
Carl and Geordie have been back to the Forest of Dean, and this time they've been joined by a new researcher, Mothy Whittard, who is one of the people responsible for the new documentary about British big cats and the Fortean Film Festival, whom you will remember that we interviewed a few weeks ago, and he joined them. And together they found something particularly interesting, which looks very much like it could be the den of some predatory creature. Could it be a lynx? So, Carl, tell us about the den.
Okay, It was our fourth trip into the Forest of Dean. First time we'd found the spoor. Second time we found what we thought might be hares, which were going to be identified by Lars. Third time we found nothing at all, and this time we found what looks like a hide or a den.
And we have here where we think possibly the cat might be. There's a really strong smell of ammonia, so that might suggest as well. Yeah, inside there are some scratch marks in the little bit of wood there. Back to the den.
I'll keep bringing more up.
Quite sheltered area this for the cat.
That's an ideal place. Something's been in there.
Something where you could,
Look how flat it is.
yeah, stay out the rain, get some pictures of that. There were scratch marks around the area. Some of them were in quite choice places. One of them was about my waist height off the ground. Look how high that is. That's
quite a distance, isn't it? It's like elbow height for you when you stood up, right?
yeah, about that.
Well, something left those marks on that.
It really did look like they were very sharp claw marks. It looked almost like a razor blade. We found them positioned all around the place, and then we also found scratch marks on the inside of the den, if that's what it is. And they were slightly different in appearance. I'm not convinced that's exactly what it is. It might not be what we think it is, but it did have a strong smell of ammonia. It literally smelled like a cat litter tray.
They examined the den, and I'm calling it a den just for convenience sake. They examined it thoroughly, and they found in the back a hidden back entrance that's quite a useful bolt hole through which an animal could escape if necessary.
Can you see me? Here.
Yeah.
Is that there? Just so we could squeeze out of here. This could be a really interesting. This could be a bolt hole.
Am I dreaming this, or did you also find signs where some prey animal had been dragged along the ground?
We did, yeah. We found. Well, Tim Whittard found it. It was just where something had been dragged. It was about maybe 30 centimetres in diameter, and it went off into the forest, into the wood. In fact, it headed straight in the direction of the den, which we thought was quite interesting. In fact, we wouldn't have found what we think might be a den if we hadn't have followed that.
And so the boys set up trail cameras.
So we'll just pack this out,
Yeah.
get it in situ,
And then hopefully
sure
it'll be
none of
camera
it's
for nothing, they'll see
obscured.
it.
bait the area, GPS tag it, and hopefully once we've got this in place, we just need to make sure that we don't obscure any of the features we need on the front of the camera, and just leave it be.
And we'll just put a trail of oil from the
Sardine
fish, mackerel.
Oh, it's mackerel, is it?
Mackerel.
Happy shopper.
Happy shopper. John West, only the best. And so the cameras are facing the front of what we're hoping is a desirable residence for some unknown predator. And wouldn't it be brilliant if it turns out to be a big cat? And we're hoping that we're going to be able to get some pictures soon when they return to the Forest of Dean for the 5th time. However, we're getting more viewers each episode, and I think it's quite possible that there are some people watching this who don't know the backstory about the Forest of Dean expedition. So, here's Carl explaining it all to Moffy.
So Carl, tell us about the lynx tracks, or the possible lynx tracks.
Okay. Basically, back in late 2019, me and my friend and his young lad were about a mile from here, and we discovered spoor that
was quite obviously not from a dog. It was asymmetrical. The exact shaping of the toes was very much like a lynx. It was lynx sized. I mean, I can't say it was a lynx because it's only a sport, but it's definitely something lynx sized. It doesn't appear to be canid. I had the evidence reviewed by several specialist zoologists, even a paleontologist actually, and yeah, they basically all said that it's quite genuine. And the depth and deposition of the toes is also quite telling. It really does seem to be feline.
So can you tell us about the X test and where you were made aware of it and how you came to use it?
I can't remember where I learnt it actually. I think I was watching a documentary in South Africa or something with a big cat guy, and he pointed out how to do it. Basically all you do is you find a track, you get 2 straight sticks. So it's really easy. So you've got your 2 sticks. Oh, you haven't got a track, so
So I'll dub that bit.
well, I can't really make a track that looks convincing, but you know, if you put the 2 sticks like this, these 2 ends here would sit between the first and the second toes, and this would be the sit between the third and the fourth toes. The plantar pad would be here. That will only sit on a symmetrical spore, basically. That has to, if it sits perfectly in between the toes and doesn't touch the plantar pad or any of the other adjacent toes, you know that's a dog, or of the canid type, because it's symmetrical. The tracks I found about a mile from here were completely asymmetrical. They had no claw marks whatsoever. It seemed to have a 3-lobe plantar pad, and like I say, the depth and deposition of the toes was all quite lynx-like.
So it's not conclusive, but it's a good trick that you can employ in the field to help you, get a better understanding of what you're looking at. Yeah. And so with that, and the photographs of the tracks that you had, the consensus was pretty astounding, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I wasn't shocked really. I knew it was something quite significant when I found it, but I like to do things properly. So the first thing I did was send it to specialists just to get it verified.
So obviously in an ideal world you would have had plastic cast made
well, the problem was we weren't in the area looking for cats. We were taking my lad's son to find wild boar. So we didn't bring any casting material or anything with us whatsoever, so we couldn't get a cast. So all I did was do the best I could. So I took a photograph and I put something to give it some scale, and I showed the X test. That's all I could think of at the time.
So there you go, thinking on your feet and being resourceful with what you got, and it's pretty impressive. Once the academics and everything got hold of it and had a look at it, were there any dissenting voices? Did anyone disagree?
There was one. Early on I sent it to a zoo, I won't say where, and initially they came back to me and said, oh yeah, it looks really cat-like. And then they asked, because I hadn't told them where I actually found it, where we found it, and I told them it was in the Forest of Dean, and then suddenly I got a reply back saying it was a dog.
Right, okay, so you did a U-turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
But other than that, it's been unanimous.
That's really interesting. Cheers, Carl.
You're welcome.
Cool.
Well, this next story is possibly down to us a long time ago, sort of like, well, maybe if you want to pull things together and jump to conclusions, and hey, I'm a 4G and I do that all the time. So, hey, I'm going to take credit for it. About 12 years ago, our old friend Dr. Charles Paxton was at a weird weekend, and he was giving 2 talks. Now, the second talk, he actually said to me that I should ask the parents of any of the small children that were in the room whether they were okay with the visual content of this next talk, because his next talk was going to be what he called hardcore cetacean erotica, and what I called whale porn. And it was exploring the theory that some, not all, but some with a capital S, of the sightings that have been reported over the years of sea serpents with their head and neck sticking out of the water are actually reports of whales on their backs with a massive erection. So cetacean stiffy is where it's at. And it's a very interesting theory. We read, we marked, we inwardly digested, and we moved on with our lives. Now, for some reason, in recent weeks, the story has surfaced again, but with a new twist, and rather a peculiar twist, because people are claiming now, all over the media, that this is an explanation for the Loch Ness Monster.
The mystery of the Loch Ness Monster has apparently finally been solved, because that very famous picture actually looks like a whale penis. And there it is.
Look.
That's what we found.
I mean, they could be. And now we know that there's a river that comes in from the sea. It's not a landlocked loch. I'm slightly regretting wearing this pink jumper. I'm not going to lie. I just looked at it and I am not putting my arms up and dancing to Six the musical today.
Well, there's one real problem with that. It's not that I have anything against the whale penis theory, but where there is an erect male penis, there has to be a live whale there, so its circulatory system can be pumping blood into the erect male penis in order to make it erect and obviously and visibly male. And there's one real problem with the theory that this is what causes the sightings of the Loch Ness Monster. And this is something which I haven't seen addressed in any of the TV shows or the newspaper articles on the subject. There are no whales in Loch Ness. Shall I repeat that for you who are hard of hearing? There are no whales in Loch Ness. The Great Glen is not part of the cetacean nation. In theory, I suppose, at very high water there is a vague possibility that a harbour porpoise might swim up into the lake. But in my opinion, the water of the lake is so clogged with peat, any marine mammal stupid enough to swim up would soon get its blowholes clogged and die quickly and unceremoniously. And any of you who've ever been to Loch Ness, or indeed have ever been to Inverness, where the River Ness flows right through the middle of the city, and if I'm right, if my memory serves me well, and it's been it's been about 15 years since I was there, the River Ness actually goes through the middle of a shopping mall at one point, but my memory might be letting me down on that one. Hey, with a beard like this, you can pretend to be older and dodderier than you are, and nobody will pick you up on it. It works for quite a lot of people I know, well, not for me. But anyway, as I was saying, the River Ness is very shallow, and it goes through the middle of a city. Not a very big city, but a city nonetheless. And so, if there is a whale in Loch Ness, which there isn't, how would it get there? Now, another thing which I find quite interesting is that, especially in the sea serpents, the colours of what may be erect whale penises do differ in colour. They're mostly pink, but sometimes they've been reported as being darker or a reddy orange colour. And this is something which I think should be picked up on the papers, because for some reason the papers do seem really rather interested in the behaviour of isolated ginger pricks. Just saying.
If you want to support us and help us make more content like these, please press like, subscribe, follow our Facebook page and check out our Patreon.
And as the ghost of Joe Strummer and I are telling you, please remember to ring that notification bell. Otherwise you won't be told when we've got another show. And that's about it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and everybody else, whoever you are. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll continue to watch the show and continue to support us. I want to say a big thank you to all the people who've helped this week, without whom I wouldn't have been able to do this. Biggest thanks of all has got to go to Louis and Graham and Carl. But I don't want to forget Charlotte, Maxine and the lovely Sarah, who keeps this place going even though the rest of us do our best to wreck it. So thank you to all of you. And we'll be back again this time next week, Saturday afternoon. It's CFZ time, so until then, be seeing you.